Jurors have just reached a verdict in the federal trial of R&B singer R. Kelly. He has been found guilty of racketeering. He is also charged with sex trafficking. These are charges that could send him to prison for decades, and CNN's Jean Casares has been following this case for us. We also have CNN legal analyst Areva Martin. She is here with us also. Okay, Jean, this just happened. I know you are scrambling to figure out exactly what all of this means, as am I. So, guilty on racketeering.
And the Eastern District of New York, the courts just tweeted that out. So they are saying guilty of racketeering. There was one count of racketeering. There were 14 different acts involved, including sexual exploitation of a minor, bribery, kidnapping, and sex trafficking charges. So this is all we have at this point. Now, he's also charged with the Mann Act, which is a federal law involving sex trafficking. Now, nothing on that yet, so they could be in the midst of the reading of this verdict because racketeering was count one. The Mann Acts were the counts after that, 2 through 9. And so we don't know how far they've gotten. But this is an extremely complicated trial. It is very, very sophisticated. It went for 23 days. There were 50 witnesses. There were many young women that testified that R. Kelly had kidnapped them, held them in rooms. They could only go to the bathroom or eat if they got permission from his people. They had to wear baggy clothes, they testified, unless they were in his presence. They could only look at him. They could not look at other men. It was tearful testimony, emotional testimony, and ultimately, the prosecution said it is time for him to be convicted.
We are just getting in more information now that he has been convicted of 9 counts, I believe, including the sex trafficking charges and that racketeering. So they're just announcing it, slowly. First was the racketeering and now the sex trafficking, because it would have been unimaginable for him not to be given what you've just said was the evidence presented in the court.
And sex trafficking was a part of the racketeering also, but the Mann Act specifically focuses in on sex trafficking, as just you're saying right here. This jury was 7 men and 5 women. It was a very diverse jury. It was a jury that listened to so much testimony, woman after woman. Here's one example. There was a former radio DJ intern who says that R. Kelly invited her to interview him. I mean, what a thing, right? When you're just an intern and he asks you, you can interview me. She went to his studio in Chicago. She said she was placed in a room. She realized she couldn't get out. And this was for days. She was finally given food. She remembers passing out and awaking and seeing R. Kelly readjusting his clothes. And so she believes that she was drugged, sexually assaulted, and that is one example.
How terrifying.